Hello, class. My name is Sierra Mahomes, and I am doing this assignment on should all athletes be required to pass a regular drug test? And I said yes. All athletes who are a part of an organized sport should be required to pass a regular drug test. If they are not on a regular organized sport, then there really isn't no reason to be drug tested because it's the lead is probably not that serious. But when you think of drugs, does an athlete ever come in mind? Think about that. Athletes using drugs to boost their performance has been a problem from at least the 1960s. It's called performance endurance drugs, also known as PED. All sports, genders, and age groups have used drugs to make them better athletes, which shouldn't be happening in an organized sport. It makes it kind of not fun anymore. All sports, rather in college, high school, middle school, or to the professionals, it shouldn't be happening. Not only athletes use these substances, a recent report shows that 5% of students report using the most dangerous drugs, antibiotic and andro- androgenetic steroids, and human growth hormone. Caffeine is the most widely used substance, with 73% of preteen and teens report reporting. Caffeine exceeding the amount found in about 8 cups of caffeine was banned by the World Anti-Doping Agency, also known as WADA, in the 1980s. But in 2004, they removed caffeine from the list of banned substances. When any player or athlete uses drugs to make them better, it is a form of cheating because you are trying to be better than the opponent that isn't using drugs or and just using their heart to play the game and just giving it all without using anything to make them better. It's cheating. Um, how often do they drug test? Well, according to the NCAA and its members, school drug tests share the responsibility of not only testing students year round, but also educating them, giving them the knowledge of what drugs can do to them, the consequences of using drugs, and just telling them that it's not prohibited in their league where all athletes are at NCAA in any sport, baseball, softball, basketball, hockey, lacrosse, not used, not tolerated in their league. For the NCAA, if students are positive for a drug test, they will automatically lose 1 full year of eligibility and are withheld from competition for 365 days from from the date that the drug tested was found on, which is 25% of their eligibility that they are losing, which is a lot. And if this happens for a second time, which shouldn't happen, athletes will lose the rest of their eligibility, which means they would have to go home and do some major explaining to the parents of why they are no longer a part of whatever program they were a part of, telling their parents that they got kicked out and lost their scholarship because of drugs, using drugs to enhance their performance, which is cheating. And if a student refuses to show up for a drug test, like if, for example, like if they call them in several times for a drug test, and the student 9 times out of 10 know they're going to be positive, and they just don't show up for whatever reason, they'll be penalized with the result of, if the test was positive, and still lose their scholarship and their money, and a bunch of stuff could go bad. For professional sports, it is different depending on what sport you play and like what league you in, but they still have to get tested, especially because they are making lots of money off of being an athlete, a professional athlete, and putting the time in and the work to get better, to like not use drugs and stuff. High school drug test is one thing that is taken for granted, because high school drug tests are not really a thing. Not many high schools get drug tests regularly. Well, for example, when I was in high school, I did not get drug tested, even though I don't do drugs, or still didn't do drugs at the time. It wasn't regularly or like strict as it should be. Drug tests are not as serious as athletes in college or being a professional. It should be more frequently, because young students should be thinking more about having fun with the game more than harming their bodies from these strong drugs. There should be a rule that to even play on a sport, the coaches and athletes should be tested for drugs. Playing sports while intoxicated could put others in serious amount of harm, like harm others, period. No matter what sport or what age you are, drug testing should happen on a regular basis. It will make a person healthier and think about more about their health than trying to cheat their way out of being an athlete. No matter what athlete you are, you still have to put in some type of work. So they shouldn't be doing that. People should also educate their child at home about the consequences of drugs and sports together, and like drugs, period. They should teach them the dangers of drugs. Parents who have athletes should make sure their children aren't receiving these harmful drugs also, because it's not cool. Drugs are not cool, and that's just not fun. So I hope you enjoyed my video, and I'll tell you more about it for the final for the final viewing.